Does evil actually exist?
We're the Happy Headers, and today we're going to have a little look at this now and see, does evil actually exist, and what do you guys think about that as well? Stick with us to the end and we're going to tell you whether it does or not.
Evil, when you think of it, it has connotations as regards religion. You know, if the evil, the devil, and in a lot of different religions, not just Christianity, you have the bad guy. But then you must have the good guy, the God, the omnipresent, benevolent God, who's, you know, the antithesis of evil, the exact opposite of evil. So you have this like good and bad. And I think a lot of this comes back to maybe ancient peoples trying to fathom, trying to make sense of life. And everybody had a father and mother, and it could have been a good parent, bad parent. Mother could have been the good one, or she could have been a witch, which we'll talk about later, or the daddy could have been the bad guy.
Yeah.
So this concept of, you know, even like a holy family, the mother, the father, the God, the Virgin Mary in Christianity, it all comes from this idea that we have. Well, okay, we grew up in families. This is the model that we need to use to understand life.
Well, if you grew up in my house, Paul, you know, the devil was in you if you did something bold.
Yeah,
or something that my parents didn't want you to
still
do.
There.
The devil was, buried it in you. That's, you know, for anybody who's listening from abroad that doesn't live in Ireland, that's a very common thing.
It's in a lot of cultures.
Yeah, it probably is actually, you know, where people really think like, you know, that there is this entity or this other person that, or this thing that's evil, that is inhabits, the devil. Yeah, that inhabits.
That can get into you.
Or can get into you.
And manipulate you.
Jesus, I was terrified as a child of the devil. Terrified.
Well, they constantly throwing holy water on you.
Well, I was putting it on myself. That's what it was. For fear that the devil would get into me.
Isn't it interesting that in modern cultures, even in Northern Ireland where we are, like homosexuality or gayness or any of these variations on heterosexuality is deemed to be evil with a lot of people there. That there are religious groups who will do effectively almost like doing exorcisms, or doing ceremonies, religious ceremonies, praying over people so that they can convert them back to being good, normal, heterosexual people.
Absolutely shocking, really, when you think about it. Because, like, years ago as well, I mean, there was a lot of exorcisms here in Ireland, like, years ago. And I think a lot of people with mental health illness, actually, schizophrenia, you know, phobias, women that were considered to be suffering with their nerves.
Yeah, people having epileptic seizures.
Yeah,
seizures, everything. That was the devil gone in and
yeah, the priest was called, and there was an exorcism.
You even see it in horror films,
person.
wouldn't you? You'd even see it in horror films, like somebody might be frothing at the mouth, having a seizure, and they say, "Oh, that's the demons.
The devil is coming out in him." Yeah, and they didn't feed people for days. They tied them to beds, and you know, didn't feed them or anything because they claimed they were feeding the devil.
Yeah,
you know, and that they needed to purge this person, purge the demon out of them. I was freaking horrifying what was done.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of state would you be in after being tied to a bed for days without being fed?
I know, and probably barely any sleep, because you'd have a priest coming in on the hour every hour to feckin' bless you and drown you in holy water, like.
And you were kind of going, "It's all gone. I've doused myself in it already, Father.
I'm good now. I'm good." Yeah, see.
I don't need any of it.
No Aramaic coming out of me now or anything like that.
But I also think then that evil gives people an excuse to act out or play out, you know, what they want to do to control other people.
Really?
Oh, I do think so.
Tell me a bit more about that.
Well, in a lot of societies, like if you know you might have, say, a tribal leader or the priest. Yeah. Or somebody who's a kind of an authority figure, and they have right on their side regardless of anything. Yeah. They might have, you know, a book. They might have text Not that God was texting them, but that a religious text to say,
Textbook.
this gives me the authority to enforce my will over you.
Yeah.
And if I'm right, then that means that you're wrong, you are evil, you're the bad person. And we can do anything. And they would do, especially medieval times, they would torture people.
Oh, it's this horrible age-old thing, isn't it? Of, people wanting to have dominion over others. Like for us in our time, I guess it would have been like the guards and the priests. We were all really afraid of them, and teachers, solicitors, anybody with big jobs. You'd be afraid, and they had this dominion over people, and they could make decisions, and there was no consequences.
Yeah.
Like when they did actually bad things. But then, as I'm talking about that, right, I can't help but allude to the issues we've had here with the Catholic Church in Ireland.
Right.
It's been pretty bad, in fairness. I would consider that evil, what they did to children and how they were abused, and the Magdalene laundries and all of those things.
But you see, the evil couldn't have been done, Siobhan, without people doing the evil. It wasn't as if there was a devil, there was an entity coming in and putting all these women in Magdalene laundries and kids in orphanages and abusing them. It wasn't a demon, a devil that came in, with horns out of his head and a tail and cloven. There wasn't that. It was people who did that. Yeah. And had people not done that, the evil wouldn't have been done.
Yeah. So the devil was in them.
The devil was in them. And that's my contention.
Yeah.
That evil, our concept of evil, evolves as we evolve, and hopefully we are continuing to evolve.
Yeah.
So what was considered normal behaviour is now barbaric to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like torturing somebody to confess that they had demons. I mean, what were they going to do with the entity? Put them on a rack, stretching them, chopping off bits of the bodies so that they confess that they had the devil in them, just to get a quick death. I mean, it was madness, and it was kosher, and it was done by a lot of religious fanatics.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, and I think that's the bottom line, isn't it? Religious fanatics.
Religious fanatics, and you still get it at play, especially you see it in the United States today, which is ironic to me, because they would say that we are the country of the free, we are the template for what freedom is in Western society, and they don't know, a lot of them, that they're corralled in, they're blindfolded, they can't see what's going on around them because they're indoctrinated into this religion, and anybody who's not of that religion, well, they're wrong, they're out there, they shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Forgetting that most Americans who were in America today were foreigners at one point.
Oh, absolutely.
That they came into the country. How the hell did they get in?
There was a piece of research done actually over there a good many years ago, and apparently 46% of Americans identified as having some bit of Irish in their blood. Imagine that. Like, that couldn't be right. 46%.
Well, I heard a stat saying there was something like 63 million Irish passports out there in the world, even though we have a population of less than 5 million.
63 million Irish passports. Yeah. How the heck did that happen? Did anyone see the size of us on the map?
In a small little island.
God bless us.
You see, that was probably God. He deliberately put us all out in a little island so we couldn't kind of get off. Yeah. We couldn't affect the world. But we did. In spite of you, God.
We feckin' spread. Anyways.
We are the Happy Headers. Like us, subscribe to us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening.